say as a parent? I mean, now you're parenting older, grown women.
Well, I
Mhm.
guess you're getting the fruits of your labor, right, at this point, because you put in the work, you were developing adults, and now your
Mhm.
children are adults. So we can talk about like the transition of like how you apply these core values with them growing up, and then how you transition between like the relationship between now you guys are both adults. You will always
Mhm.
be the mom, but you guys are both adults, and how those core values are reflected in your relationships now with them as an adult.
Definitely.
Well, what I will say is, yes, to some degree, I am appreciating the fruits of my labor at this point, but not completely. Everybody grows at different pace,
Mm-hmm.
and so I have two daughters. Um, One I'm watching like completely, you know, um, receiving all that I am in regard to those core values and learning from them and trying to show up in that space as well, while I'm watching the other have a hard time doing so. Um, but I see that she now identifies it for what it is, whereas when they were younger, um, it was just me being mean, too hard, um, you
Rigid.
know, rigid, yeah, unbendable, all of those different things became problematic because it felt, uh, I guess, militant
Mm-hmm.
is how they seen me.
Definitely.
My understanding that I was trying to assure them a solid understanding of self and how the world operates around them and how they needed to be operating within the world in order for a successful or favorable outcome. You know, so I see that the respect factor for who I am and how I show up is there much more now than it was in the past.
Okay. So that's with one daughter.
That's both.
Oh, that's both
Seeing
daughters.
that I'm
Okay.
seeing it show up now. I'm saying one of them is having a easier transition than the other.
Oh yeah, because I seen, yeah, you started off with just one, so I wanted to make sure that it was both of them that is receiving it. The reason why we tend to ask about the core values, if you're showing up as a leader, anybody that now questions the leadership and questions that value in you, it's going to cause problems in the relationship, right? You're dependable. Anybody that challenges whether you're going to be dependable, it causes friction in relationship. You know, we call it's honor. Now, when you talk about your honor, you want to make sure that people are honoring who you are as a human being and that you're honorable.
And your track
Anytime
record.
somebody questions that, it's going to cause friction in the relationship. And honesty, when we talk about you being honest and your ability to actually be honest, and we obviously understand the difference between truth and being honest. You're being honest of where you're at, and then you're starting a dialogue to search for the truth. But honesty is about, I'm going to come to the table and I'm going to explain to you exactly what I'm feeling, what I'm thinking, and then we can start the dialogue from there. Anybody that questions whether you're going to be honest there's going to be friction within the relationship. So that's why we always ask people to identify their core values, because all of our debates, our arguments, everything that we are is our core values. And when somebody questions the greatest things in us, that's when we have a problem with our relationships.
Mhm.
So we started off with raising children. You see how your core values was leadership, dependability, honor, honesty. So when you were at your best and when you was actually showing your children who you were, it was met with your rigid, your militant, but you had a great sense of self. And as they're maturing into figuring out who they are, now they have a greater sense of self. So now they're gonna adapt certain core values. So now y'all meeting on equal playing fields, where in the beginning you was just trying to say you're gonna blossom into who you are, but you have to have your core values. So when you walk in every room and you deal with every relationship, people know what to expect. They know who you are. You know what I
I
mean?
think,
So go ahead.
no, I was gonna say, I think that the weird, not the weird, but I think the thing about raising children is, and I know that we all go through this, is that we may have a set of principles and core values, but we want our kids to come to that conclusion on their own. We don't want to force it upon them. We may know what's best. We may know what they need, but at the same time, we don't want to force it on them because we want them to want it, and not feel like I have to be this way in order to connect with mommy, or I have to feel this way in order to connect with daddy. You know what I mean? Like, you want them to appreciate it, respect it, and say, this is the better way to live. So this is what I believe in. And I think that, you know, what like Mahogany was saying about her kids being on two different um, levels as to their growth, and one really adapting really well and the other one kind of struggling. I think, you know, as a parent, you kind of sit back and think she'll get there if that's where she wants to go. And the other daughter is like, she wants to get there, so she's working toward it. And it's that fine line of, and that's the fine line of you pushing your views on your children, which they automatically think anyway. As teenagers, think you're trying to take over their whole lives. And then there's we're just trying to give you options, right? You can go this route or you can go another route, but there's options. And that would determine how close of the relationship we have. And I think a lot of children or people think that that shouldn't determine how close we are, but it does, because like as you said, when a person questions the best things about you, it creates a wedge in your relationship. I don't care how close they are to you. I don't care if they're your mother, your sister, your brother, your kids, your significant other. It's going to create friction within the relationship. And I think that that's a place that we need to be comfortable having that conversation. Like, I raised you, but if you don't believe the same things I believe, then, or I don't believe the same things you believe, that's going to create a wedge in the relationship. And not I hate you wedge, but we're not going to be as close as we could be because of it.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
I mean, in reality, the reason why we started with children is because that's the only relationship. When they become adults, we got to decide whether they're
Yeah.
people we want in our lives on a, you know, they're going to be in our lives on a regular basis, but they're going to start building their own life.
Yeah.
They're not our friends. They're not our spouse. They're actually our children. So we signed on for the relationship, which is a part of our accountable love and our accountable relationships, because we choose to be parents. You know what I mean? Whether we feel it's not a choice or we did choose to be parents. You know what I mean? Once we decided we was we was going to have children, we decided to now become parents. Once we had sex, we decided to become parents. So it's a choice that we had, but it's not necessarily a choice that they had. So now we are teaching them their choices through their development. But once they develop into adults, now we're deciding whether we can actually be friends.
Yeah.
We could actually be equals. And that's, it goes back to what Jerry was saying. If our core values are different, we need to be honest with ourselves and say, listen, I'm always going to be your parent,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't really like you as a person.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or I really can't get down with you as a person. Or I like you as a person, I respect you as a person, but we're not going in the same direction. So live the life you're going to live. But if you need any support, I'm here for you as a
Mm-hmm.
parent. But a lot of people believe that their kids need to be in their lives on a regular basis.
No matter
And
what.
they
Yeah.
forget to nurture the relationships around them that promise to be in their lives on a regular basis, like friends and spouses. So